Vanakkam. Today we are going to see another very interesting topic and which is useful to the practicing chartered accountant. The topic is multidisciplinary partnership form of a CA who is in practice. So this is a very, very interesting topic that all the members in practice they have to view this. And here I want to start with a disclaimer. The views expressed in this presentation is my view and my understanding on the subject. The viewers are requested to read the rules and regulations given by the ICA in this regard. I am not responsible for any wrong or misinterpretation based on my presentation. And I welcome you once again for today's presentation. The topic here is MDP. Wherever I say MDP, it is called as, it should be known as, it will be understood as multidisciplinary partnership firm or chartered accountants in practice. So only chartered accountants in practice, they can form a MDP. And the MDP birth I am going to explain. The provisions of Chartered Accounts Act of 1949 and Chartered Account Regulation of 1988, it's amended, and with the regulation of 53B, read with regulation 190, this MDP concept comes into the practice or comes into the life. It has given the life. And it is permitted for by the ICA to the members of ICA, and you can form the partnership firm with specified professionals. So only with the specified professionals as given, as approved by ICA, you can form a MDP, and the central government has given the approval to ICA regarding the formation of MDP. So only after getting central government permission, ICA has announced this, and it has announced, ICA has announced the thing through guidelines, and it is notified by CA Amendments Regulation of 2021, why notification number 1 CA within bracket 7 197 2021 dated 8/7/2021. So if you are forming MDP, so you have to also file form number 18. It has also been revised and it has come into effect from 8/7/2021. So this is the history of MDP births. Next thing, the word they used is a chartered accountant in practice can form a MDP, and you can be a partner with the specified professionals. And the specified professional list, which has been approved by ICA, we are going to see now. First thing, you can be a partner with company secretary, and that company secretary should be a practicing member, and that company should be that member should be the member of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India, established under Company Secretaries Act of 1980. So a chartered accountant can form a partnership with company secretary, and also the cost accountant. You should also be a practicing member of the Institute of Cost and Works Accountants of India, established under Cost and Works Accountants Act of 1959. And you can be a partner, that is, ICA is permitted. You can enter into partnership with advocate, but he should be a member of Bar Council of India, established under the Advocates Act of 1961. And you can also enter into partnership engineer. So he should be a member of the Institution of Engineers or engineering from a university established by law or an institution recognized by law. Next two thing is you can be a partner with, you can form a MDP with architect, and he should be a member the Indian Institute of Architects, established under the Architects Act of 1972. And next one is actuary, but here they say that the chartered accountant in practice can form a MDP with non-practicing member of the Institute of Actuaries of India, established under the Actuaries Act of 2006. It is the only place where the chartered accountant can enter into MDP with a non-practicing member, that is actuary. And this is the latest position of the effect of MDP. So regarding ICAs, that is company secretary, that they are permitted, but notification is still pending. Regarding ICMA, the institute has permitted, has given the permission, but notification is pending to form a MDP with charter accountant. Regarding advocates, it is not so far permitted by the bar council. And regarding engineers, it's you can enter into, you can form a MDP with the engineer, you can form a MDP with architect, you can form a MDP with actuary also. But when you enter into MDP with actuary, you should be a non-practicing member. This is the effect as on date, according to me. So other professional bodies, can I enter with other professional bodies other than the list given by ICA? No, you are not permitted to form an MDP as on date. So here, what are the other professions? MBA, approved valuer, approved IP, IT professional. With them, the MDP cannot be formed by a practicing CA. And how to form, what is the mode of formation of MDP? That is, it comes under the Partnership Act of 1932. So you can form as a partnership firm. MDP can be formed as a partnership firm under Partnership Act of 92. Even you can form a LLP under LLP Act of 2008. So there you can register as per the laws set in the Indian Partnership Act of 1932 and LLP Act of 2008. MDP can be formed by a CA member in practice with the specified professions. Here, another question. Can a company form MDP? No, because chartered accountants are not allowed to practice as a company. So this is clearly prohibited. You can see Section 25 of Chartered Accountants Act of 1949. No company is allowed to practice in India as a practicing chartered accountant. No company is allowed to be incorporated in India or elsewhere to practice as a chartered accountant in India. Hence, they are not allowed to form a company. So MDP cannot be formed as a company because company is not allowed to practice as a CA in India. So MDP should not be formed, or it is not possible for MDP to form a company to do the practice. And how we have to get the registration. So here, if you want to start a MDP, the registration with ICA is mandatory. It is not optional. It is mandatory. So you have to approach the ICA to get your MDP as a registered one. For this, whenever you apply to the ICA has given a registration number of MDP. Then you have to code all that number as MDP in all your letter pads and everything, so that you are different from the other registration of the other firm registration. So you can be clearly distinguished from other firm registration of CA. So now you have to add suffix. So this is also is clearly given in the instruction. Say after the name of MDP firm, you have to add multidisciplinary firm of chartered accountants in practice. So A&Co, a multidisciplinary firm of chartered accountants in practice. So it helps to distinguish the MDP firm from other firms, and MDP firm, they have to submit the name approval first and form number 117, and they have to submit the form to the council. The form has to approve the name, then the MDP has to submit the revised form 18 as per regulation 190 of CA. So here MDP in CA in practice, they have a different distinct name, and the name should be approved by ICA. So this is a very, very important thing. Now you want to form an MDP. What are the documentary evidence that you have to submit to ICA? So here MDP firm has to submit the documentary evidence of partners and not by CA, because you are all already a member of ICA. So not members of ICA, you need not submit, because MDP has to be formed only by the members in practice. So MDP firm has to submit the documentary evidence of all the partners, that is all the other specified professionals. So those evidences should be duly attested by the CA in practice who is not related to the MDP form. Who is because two CAs are there. One is already there in the MDP. He cannot certify for the other professional. So the ICA has specifically given direction that documentary evidence should be duly attested by CA in practice who is not related to the MDP firm. And this means the charter accountant has to produce the evidence of certificate of members of the other professional bodies or degree of the recognized university in the case of engineering graduates. So this the charter accountant has to verify the genuineness of the certificate because sometimes bogus certificates have been produced by few professionals. So, in order to avoid that, the chartered accountant in practice has to verify the genuineness of the degree certificate because he has to attest as saying that the certificate is true. So you have the charter accountant in practice before attestation. He has to be very, very careful. And other professional bodies having valid membership. So if the other members, suppose I cost accounting, cost accountancy, and accountant and company secretaries, if they got the professional membership, you have to verify the number with the respective professional body, and the charter accountant has to confirm whether he is in practice as on the date of application of MDP. Then, so now you have formed a MDP. Now you are opening a branch. Who is going to be the in charge? Normally, only CAs are permitted to be in charge of any branch of MDP. So that means, other than CA, no one is permitted to be to head the branch office under MDP. But ICA may give the power of waiver, or the ICA may grant exemption of having the in charge other than the CA. So this is also specifically given. And what are the MDP form they functions? So partner of MDP so is permitted to give all types of services, but as prescribed under the ICA Act and regulation. So partners also liable to give only the services as permitted by the ICA. And he is allowed. So partner of MDP is, suppose he is a practicing chartered accountant. Here, it's a very, very important thing. Though you are a partner of MDP, you are also allowed to practice in individual capacity with MDP permission. Here, MDP firm has to give permission to the partner saying that you can also practice in individual capacity. There is no prohibition in Charter Accountants Act of 1949 and Regulation of 1988. So MDP partner of a firm, he can also become a partner in other firm or engage in any other occupation as agreed among the partners as per the partnership deal. So partner of MDP firm can also practice in individual. He can also become a partner in other firm. It's a very, very important thing that every practicing member who form MDP has to take note of this. Then MDP firm can also accept any other engagements, that is bank audit, audit of property. These assignments can be accepted by MDP firm, and the MDP firm also can undertake the tax assignments, and MDP firms are also allowed to empanel with other agencies, and they also allowed, MDP is also allowed to do the networking as per the ICA network guidelines. So all these are the very important functions of MDP firm. And what is the guidelines? MDP firm has to comply with the provisions of Charter Accountants Act and Charter Accountant regulations and rules. So MDP, because it's being allowed by ICA, so every MDP firm should follow the provisions of Charter Accountants Act and the regulations. And there is no need for the MDP firm to obtain prior permission from the other professional bodies, says ICA, ICSI, and ICMA. You need not go and get the prior permission to form a MDP. So here the charter accountant, they are forming the partnership. Here no permission is required. Still, as the notification is still pending from the company secretary institute and cost accountant institute, we have to wait for the direction. As of date, no permission is required. And the partnership deed of the MDP firm should specifically mention the extent of profit sharing and fees, and what's the responsibility to supply information at the time of registration, and what are the things that require from time to time. It should be specifically mentioned. You have to consult the other partners or not to or work independently. So everything in the MDP firm should be consulted. Whether I can work independently or to jointly with the other partners, other professionals, everything should be consulted. And it should be specifically mentioned the partnership deed also. And what is the appointment of staff of partners, on whose choice the staff of the MDP has to be appointed. So that should also be clearly mentioned in the partnership deed of MDP firm. And here, what's the profit sharing ratio? No ratio is prescribed under IC. So no ratio is prescribed under Charter Accountants Act, and one partner must be a chartered accountant in practice. So if you form a MDP, the MDP so it has to be formed by a chartered accountant in practice. So a chartered accountant not in practice is not allowed to form MDP. And if there is any statutory audit and that MDP firm has got the statutory audit allotment, it has to be duly signed only by the chartered accountant and not by the other specified professionals. So a chartered accountant in practice can sign the statutory audit report, and if the majority partners are not CA, not allowed to sign the statutory audit. In case if there are 10 partners, 3 are chartered practicing chartered accountants, but 7 or other specified professionals, then the majority of the partners are not CA, then they are not allowed to sign the statutory audit report. And in case if there is any, violation of the Charter Accountants Act of 1949, whether disciplinary proceedings can be initiated, because if there is any violation of MDP, can a disciplinary action be taken against the MDP partners? So disciplinary action against the charter accountants only be taken, and regarding other specified professions, the respective insured, they have to take the disciplinary proceedings, and other respective, other specified professionals are not responsible to face the disciplinary proceedings under the IC Act. So the majority of the partners should be a CA. If the majority of the partners are not CA, then disciplinary action may be taken. But if you got the permission from ICA, then disciplinary action will not be taken. Otherwise, disciplinary action can be taken on all partners who are all members in practice, CA members in practice. So the disputes, if there is any dispute and if there is any personal responsibility due to misconduct, it should be clearly agreed in the partnership deed, and it should be written as per the provisions of Partnership Act of 1932 or LLP of 2008. And if there is any misconduct, here it's very, very important. The respective professional body has to take disciplinary action and not by ICA. That is, other than CA, if there is any misconduct by the other specified professionals, only the respective professional bodies, they have to face the disciplinary provision. And MDP firm and other partners are not responsible for misconduct of other partners. So MDP firm and other partners, they are not responsible. Suppose one partner has committed any misconduct, their firm and other partners are not responsible for the misconduct. So now, what's the advantage of having the MDP firm? So client's perspective, it's very good. And next thing is all services are under one roof. So you can get the valuation, uh, you can get the CS services, you can get the company services all under one roof. That's a very big concept that's being given by, motivated by ICA to form a MDP. And you will get multifarious professional services. Various professional services are under one roof. That's another advantage. It's a single brand name service. A and Go multidisciplinary partnership firm in practice. So every service comes under single brand name. So if the MTP firm is giving very good service, it will definitely get very good professional work. So all the talents are pulled together. So if there is any doubt by one body, then they can consult the other professional so that every point will be solved. So all the talents are pulled together, and it's also cost effective. Because if you are maintaining CA office separately, if you are maintaining company secretary office separately, cost accountancy office separately, you have to pay separate and separate share. But if every services coming under one roof, it is cost effective and risk avoidance. Because here partners, one part mistake of one partner will not bind the firm and other partner. So risk is also avoided, and all the experienced professionals are under one roof. So MDP firm, all the experienced firm are under one roof, and this MDP firm is ready to face any challenges in the profession. This is the concept of ICI. And what's the challenges that arise? So, in case MDP there is any misconduct, so you have to face the disciplinary action, and if there is any conflict of interest, that is also another challenge because one partner is interested in other firm's business. So there will be some conflict of interest that there are chances in the MDP and fixing the liability. It should be specifically mentioned in the partnership deed. So this is also another challenge. Who is responsible for the failure? Who is responsible for the misconduct? Everything it has to be specifically mentioned. These are the challenges. And since it's a MDP, all the partners know all the secrecy of the client, all the secrecy of the client. So it is not possible because almost all the professionals they are maintaining the secrecy, but there are chances it is not possible to maintain the secrecy. This is what I want to say about the MDP, that is multidisciplinary uh, partnership by CA members in practice. And this is the views expressed in this presentation is my view. Please refer the respective act and regulations of the ICA. With this, I am just closing my presentation. I wish you all the best, members. Be ready to form an MDP, but please refer the ICA because the MDP formation, before forming MDP formation, you have to get the name approval, then get the ICA permission, then form the MDP. And partnership deed is must under the Partnership Act of 1932. And if if you are doing as LLP, then registration as per the LLP Act of 2008 is also compulsory. Thank you very much for the patient watching of this program. Nandri, Vanakkam.